This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Welcome everyone to the March 9th, 2022 meeting of the Community Relations Committee. We'd like to thank Easthampton Media for posting our recordings on YouTube. All past meetings of the CRC can be found on Easthampton Media's YouTube account for viewing at any time. So all committee members and participants in this meeting are gathered remotely during the COVID-19 pandemic, as permitted by Chapter 20 of the Massachusetts Acts of 2021, entitled An Act Extending Certain COVID-19 Measures Adopted During the State of Emergency and signed into law on June 16, 2021 by Governor Baker. For the benefit of those who are joining us from the community, I'd like to start this meeting by sharing our committee's mission statement. Our mission is to promote positive relations throughout Easthampton's diverse population. We'll work to build a sense of inclusion, community, and pride, where community members feel welcome, accepted, and valued. So I'd like to take a roll call. First, Rebecca Pasa.
Here.
Next, myself, Emily Britton, here. Next, Margaret Kirstein.
Yeah.
Jan Norman. Myra Oyedemi.
Here.
Ebenezer Afarakuma. Oh, okay, that's it. So on our agenda tonight, the first thing would be the approval of the minutes.
Okay. And that's if they were prepared in time, which they aren't.
Right.
This is not too much time between a
Exactly.
week. Yeah, you understand.
Yes.
We had 2 meetings the other week.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so that is fine. Okay. Any announcements? Ooh.
Hi there, Jan.
Hello there.
Hi, Jan. Great.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, thanks.
Awesome. Welcome. Yeah.
I have a few announcements and maybe other folks would like to speak.
Okay.
Yes, I've got some, correspondence that came in. So, but I'm happy to have Myra go first. That's fine.
Okay.
Well, I was okay. Just to make sure. Why don't I have you go first? So that way I know that you've covered all your bases and I don't duplicate anything.
Okay. So let me see. I have to find the earlier email. We received, and the committee email address received an email message from David Detmold. He introduces himself saying that he coordinates or he's a coordinator with changethemassflag.com in association with the Boston-based Massachusetts Indigenous Agenda.org. I think that's MAindigenousagenda.org. And overall, I could read this, but he is interested in our help bringing a resolution before the City Council of Easthampton in support of changing the racist state flag and seal of Massachusetts. So, and I have not yet emailed this to all of you, but I could do that. Okay, so he's interested in that, and it could be that he could get on and I'll let the co-chairs work with me on whether that's on an agenda.
Okay.
I also thought the other email that got my attention wasn't really addressed to the CRC so much as to committee chairs in Easthampton. The chair, Angelique Baker, the chair of the Commission on Disability, is suggesting or asking, is there a way to have a meeting of all committee chairs just to introduce ourselves to each other?
Okay.
So she wants to be able to open lines of communication. Would you all ever want to have a little picnic at the park or something? I think that's really charming, personally. But so that is the other piece of correspondence that I will share. I will, after the meeting, I'll email those to the committee.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Rebecca. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Myra, what are your announcements?
Okay, my announcements were that I believe this evening there's going to be a meeting on appointments. So we may see if we will have another committee member if it comes to a vote this evening. So that's feels good. Secondly, I think it's one day late, but there was the observance of International Women's Day. So, yes, so some folks
Well, just 7 days, my
celebrate it
friend.
in different ways. You know, every day is a good day to be. Anyway,
It's also international. It's also Women's History Month.
Yes,
So
it is.
I think the white men, they get, I think, all the other 10 months.
well, we are free to celebrate what we like when we like. So it may not be on the calendar. So just giving that. What else did I want to mention? Just although it wasn't a meeting, it was certainly nice to meet and get to know everyone a little bit more the other evening. So thanks for sharing your time.
Right.
And that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you, Myra.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning the thing about International Women's Day. I usually do something at the school every year. Because I learned about it when I was young, and it's the same day as my birthday. So, so it always falls together. And so this year I finally put a 6 in that first number. So
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You don't look a day over 59.
hey, my mind feels like, I can still get back in there and do that jujitsu, but
Yeah.
it's the day after that counts, right? I mean, just
Right. Right. Well, great.
good seeing everybody. And it was lovely having the get together.
Yeah.
I think that was very, very nice.
It was great. It was, I can't believe it took us so long, but it was so right.
So let's do it again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
When it gets nice, it'll be nice to be able to just maybe go to the park, a little
Right.
food, that type of thing.
Right. That city chair meeting in the park sounds good for nice weather, And I think they should just invite everybody personally, but as it goes.
Right.
If you don't mind, I just thought I'd mention about procedure. So somehow it caught my eye, or maybe the city clerk told me somebody new was in the pipeline. And first, the city appointments committee, they could approve it, but then their recommendation goes to city council. So it will take us a little bit of time anyways. But anyway.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for that.
Because if it's just in this appointments committee, of course, we're hoping for good results, but then it needs to go to city council.
Right. Great. Okay. Thanks. Thanks for the reminder.
Well, there was a long time ago. I got wrong information and totally jumped the gun.
Oh, yeah. So you never forget it when we learn.
I don't want to do it again. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it ended up being the most awkward thing in the whole, I don't know if you remember, but never mind. That's not on our agenda. We can.
Right.
You can
Definitely remember. Definitely remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to acknowledge that Dr. Eben is on the line. Hello, Dr. Eben.
Oh, unmute
Hello.
him. Yes, there you
Hello.
are.
Yeah.
Hi, how are
Good
you?
evening to you all. I think I am so much in it. I think my lights are up. I don't want to. I mean, my lights are not so on. So whatever the case, my video is giving me a very blank, image.
There you are.
You can
Yeah.
see me.
Okay.
My lights are
Great.
not on. My lights are so you do not see me. I mean, in reality, but I am here with you all.
Okay.
And as you are speaking, I just want to. I don't know whether we can think about instituting an International Women's Day in Easthampton. So we opportunity to celebrate women that have led, in whatever dimension they have been to the growth of Easthampton. I mean, this is something that we can think about, and I believe that issues of this nature can bring the community together. Yeah, so that is something I think we should be thinking of.
Mhm.
So
Yes, great.
yeah, so your connection wasn't great, Dr. N. I know you said it'd be great to somehow honor the women who have led, and then I didn't hear the next few words. I can guess, but could you just reiterate that? Maybe the connection will be better.
Yeah, I mean, it is not about maybe leading by per se, but like women that we know that have in Easthampton over the years, maybe their contribution to the community, the role they play to advance the cause of various issues within the community. We can celebrate them. I believe that it will be sort of it will be like a motivation to people. Oh, if this lady or this woman is being celebrated, then I also see myself being celebrated as this. They will be able to offer themselves more to the service of the community. So we should find a way to celebrate our community, and that is my concern. I mean, or suggestion.
Okay, I still didn't hear you at times, but I think I got a general sense of it. It sounds, yeah, we should talk about that more at some point. I guess maybe not take the time tonight, but when you have a better connection, also it'd be nice to.
Yeah, I mean,
Here.
so that could be
Here
on a future
everywhere.
agenda.
What was that, Rebecca?
To be able to discuss things, it needs to be on an agenda. So this can be for a future agenda.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Oh, exactly. Okay. Great.
So
Okay. So,
I was
Any
just
other
gonna say,
any other announcements?
nope. I was just gonna say, so I think that goes well with that document that you created last time, Rebecca.
Oh, do you mean bylaws? No. What do you mean?
No,
Oh, like putting on the parking lot, like that.
yes, we had started that.
To one of the subcommittee areas. So yeah, would it go into Forum,
Right.
Beach, or yeah, and then it could be like in the parking lot, like something to be done in the, right.
Right. I'm going to even right now, let's see, what have I got on here? Spreadsheets. Do I have ideas parking lot.
Mhm.
And in an effort to be transparent, I
Mhm.
would like to share my screen a moment.
Mhm.
I always have to remember how to do that. Present. Okay. Present a window. I want to present my spreadsheet. It has to be the correct spreadsheet. Let me see. That's not the right one. Oh, I see what I'm trying to do. It's not that. It is. It's funny. Oh, I see. I have to have it. I have to have my tab in a separate window so that the share screen sees it. I'm sorry for the technical. Let me say cancel for a minute so that it lets me do it. Come on, guys. It's not cooperating with me. Or I'll do it that way. Okay, now share screens, share a window. And here's this is very short, okay? So somehow on my parking lot, I've got that idea of distributing paper copies of the survey, ultimately. And well, the meeting for coffee we're gonna do still. So this is CRC members, And so number 3 is how about special days? Days like International Women's Day. So how's that for the parking lot?
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. Now I'm going to stop share. But
Great. Okay, so next on the agenda is public speak. It looks like there's nobody online for public speak, and we can tell if someone's on the phone, right?
Yes, yes, they
Okay.
show up as a box here with a
Okay.
something, yeah.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is the report from the Forum Subcommittee. Yeah, so
Okay.
which one of you would like to report?
Well, can I say,
Shall we allow Margaret? Go ahead.
Go
I was
ahead.
going to ask who would like to, I mean, I think all three of us, Rebecca, Myra, and I met for an hour before our meeting, our meet and greet on Sunday.
Oh, wow.
And I also sent out that the exchange between me and the mayor and about
Mhm.
the issue of the Undoing Racism trainings, the issue of CRC's money, the issue of our 2023 budget.
Mhm.
All that's all up in the air at this point.
Mhm.
So I feel like where we're at right now is that there are a couple of issues that we as a group really need to consider
Mhm.
about the Undoing Racism trainings. And it would seem to me that from the meeting that Myra and Rebecca and I had, is that there seem to be a couple of choices. One is to not do the Undoing Racism trainings, to do this one training for 2022 at this point before July 1st, to come up with other ways to, and also the debrief issues for those people who attended the first two,
Mhm.
what to do about them, us.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I guess the fourth issue is because the more I've thought about it, I don't think I said this on Sunday, but the fact that the People's Institute does not have a load of data that they have gotten from, if they're doing 35 of these trainings a month over 40 years, but let's say over 10 years, the last 10 years,
Mhm.
that is an enormous amount of data that seems to be
Mhm.
strangely absent. Although I don't know that I ever asked somebody other than Dr. Campbell if there was data, that
Mhm.
the People's Institute had data, and he seemed to imply, although I never remember him saying a specific, that there was no data
Mhm.
in that way. And so I really, as I've thought about it more, I think that we also need to really seriously consider creating a survey,
Mhm.
like a Survey Monkey kind of thing, or I'm sure there are better things. This
Mhm.
technology is not my strong suit,
Mhm.
but to get our own feedback. The CRC start collecting the data from those 40 people who have taken it or 50 people who have taken it and see what it says. Because I have no clue. I mean, I know what my experience was, and Myra, which you could
Mhm.
very effectively share, you got feedback from Omar Gomez
Mhm.
about what his experience was,
Mhm.
which was diametrically different than mine,
Mhm.
which is fine,
Mhm.
that's to be expected. But what do we want to do? What do we want to do? And regardless of what the mayor may think would be good for us to do, or because I think we need to discuss it.
Mhm. So just right now, I'm sure Myra and Rebecca will speak. Right now, it seems like the choices are not do it, do one training before July 1st, create a survey and postpone a training.
Not even,
And-
it's not, we could do the training and do the survey.
Okay, right. So they're not mutually exclusive. Okay, yeah. And then the debriefing is a whole nother thing, really. Okay.
And the debriefing may take some form of having people fill out the survey anonymously,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and us collect that data about what people's experiences were.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then off of that, figure out if in 23, the fiscal budget that starts in July, that we want to do anything with it or not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, like you, Margaret, I think I have too many emails open at the moment to pull up what I wanted. But I am pulling up your email from the mayor,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I was, perhaps I just read it too quickly, which is,
Right.
maybe could be the case. So I was a little confused on her part 4,
Okay.
in which,
Could you read it out loud?
okay, I can. Part 4 says, by the resolution and ordinance that created the CRC, the mayor cannot and does not decide what the CRC takes the lead, facilitates, or agenda, which is very accurate. The CRC is not a department per Easthampton's home rule charter with a discretionary budget subject. This is not what I was confused about. Subject to the mayor's appropriation and approval by the city council. Again, undoing racism training related work is paid for by the mayor's office via public comment.
Commitment.
Right. So then my question kind of got near this part. If the CRC can or wants to be the convener or lead recruiter for future training, my office will need dates and costs for the training. If not, my office will work directly with Dr. Campbell to schedule debriefs and new training on a timeline that my office can adequately organize. Let us know when you can. Given the city charter, the city should propose a budget in fiscal year January, blah, 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 to 23 with expenditures. So I was just a little bit, it was a little great to me if that is something that she was proposing that she was still doing, since she was the initiator of the Undoing Racism workshops, if that was something that she wanted to continue doing within the scope of her office.
It seems that if we want to pick it up, that's okay. If we don't want to pick it up, she's going to continue doing what she's doing. And it would seem to me that the cost of it is really going to be via the mayor's office, which I believe is the cannabis money. I think in here somewhere, something talks about cannabis money. Maybe, let me see where it is.
I don't know. In the past, I want to say it was economic development that you spoke of. But
I don't know where I think Lindsay Mailer sent me a brief thing that said that, I'm sorry, I don't even know where the cannabis money notion, I know I read it, I just can't find it right now. But I think we can do anything we want, basically, or not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just get back on my other emails. Okay, so I just read it a little bit too quickly, I believe. So it seems like she was leaving it in the air, like it's something that she can continue to do, or if we want to, we can continue to do. But either way, it has fallen under the scope of something the mayor had proposed paying for.
Right.
Just
It
wanted
is an interesting dilemma because we had our own, push to come up with a good forum for the community. And, we went through one, forum subcommittee and made a decision, and then, it wasn't voted with a majority. So then we ended up getting a new forum subcommittee, and we were going to start this process of examining several different options. And we had a questionnaire with specific questions to determine who would be the best fit. And then simultaneously, the Undoing Racism one was planned by the mayor. So not to say that that's not going to fit what we wanted, but as we've heard through some community members, they would not necessarily recommend it. And I've had the hesitation all along that anyone in our community could really attend a 3-day training and dedicate loss of income to do that. So
Perhaps so. I don't know if I.
Wait. Let me I just want to, something when we had our subcommittee meeting on Sunday. Emily, are you talking about Omar? Or are you talking about several people? You're saying several people in the community do not recommend it. Who are you talking about?
I don't think I want to say their names online because I don't have their permission to say their names, but Myra quoted somebody that she heard from Omar. So there were 2 people.
Well, as I said to Myra.
No.
First of all,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's good public forum to be quoting people in an open meeting during a private conversation. So I wouldn't be speaking about names unless they were here to want to give feedback and follow up. I think it's very bad form.
Right. I agree.
Well, I apologize for then using the name, but I also want to be clear that if we have heard from one person, we have heard from one person. I don't like that the collective editorial, they said, who are they? And they don't exist to me. One person definitely exists to me who I have full respect for their opinion. But the point is, if it's one person and I'm one person, so we neutralize each other right there. I say yay, he says nay, fine. But that's not who's going to make the decisions. We are going to make the decision. So that's all.
Yeah.
I'm struggling. I'll have more in-depth conversation. I'm just struggling to find the date. I don't know if it's something that I deleted.
Oh, no,
but there were some proposed dates.
I have those dates.
So going back to what I said, in which I gave, I had permission to share with members of the committee. Okay. Where do I want to go with it? I'm not sure because now I feel like
I have your dates, Myra, if you're interested in that.
Well, okay. So there's a few things that I feel I've felt like we do have an opportunity to do something, right? And those were the 3 things that you mentioned. We can do nothing. This workshop can continue on under the mayor, or we can devise something of our own, which we had done in the past. I feel like this workshop has been helpful to some people. It was educational to some people. And at the end of the day, what we are doing, I think, needs to be at an entry point for the community. Whereas when this was held, it was for mainly staff with a few people who were available during the committee. With the community. So the second date, I believe, was meant to be for the community, but there wasn't a whole lot of community, whether it be for lack of advertisement or just people not being able to attend. And as I mentioned to many of you, on the proposed days, I will not take a day off of work for the workshop, just because I have limited days off, and I would like to spend those days off with my family. That being said, so I'm not sure that we get a lot of community buy-in between the 3 days that were proposed. And also, given the makeup of who attended, it being mandatory, it being people who were paid to attend, or people who had reason to attend, being that they hold public office, or were specially invited. So do I think it's the entry point of where we are? I don't. I think it's a bit of a mismatch. I'm not saying this workshop can't be useful. I just personally think it's a mismatch. Who can attend from all working hours of the day for 3 days in our community? Who would that be? Last time we proposed it being in person. Thinking about equity, are we providing childcare during that time? Are we providing meals? Are we providing lodging for the people who are going to come to present in person? Is this something that we can get together and have an adequate number of people to attend? And you can throw out the dates, Margaret. I believe one is Memorial Day weekend.
Right.
I won't
The
be
other
there.
one is June 3rd to 5th.
Can
May
we do that?
27th May 27th to 29th and June 3 to 5.
So,
So that's another weekend, right?
I think so, yes.
right. So
Mhm.
those are the three options. I'm going to say, rather than doing something that's unreachable, I would like us to chart something that's reachable. Could this be easy? Somewhat, because it's prepackaged, it's arrived, and it's paid for. But is it helpful for the community if no one can go?
Well,
Besides maybe people who are, I don't know.
Myra, with all due respect, I understand that you can't go, but I don't want us to determine that for other people about who can or can't. That's one. There may be many people that we would like to attend who are, and we might make recommendations to the mayor, who are going to be just like the others. They are employees of the school, they are employees of something, and that they will get paid. You know, they will get reimbursed in some way for doing this. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't care how people get there. It's really not my call. But you know, I appreciate that this would be outrageous to. I can't, you know, I mean, I feel like I've gone to so many trainings over the years during my work time that, and I was self-employed, that that is not a major thing for me, for example. I have worked for free, you know, just like here you are working for free, doing all of these things. And how many hours do we put in our volunteer work? I don't know who can or cannot go. That's all.
Dr. Eben would like to speak.
Oh yeah, I agree with Margaret. And I stand with her. Most of the things we are doing is obviously free. Perspective, look at it from that. Thank you.
You know, so one thing that I thought that we might be able to do tonight, and if it just in a short amount of time, seriously, is just as if, just float out as if we were going to promote this undoing racism training, who might we think would be really good to attend? So for example, Jan, I think you have some people in mind or positions in mind that would be very helpful through the school system. I don't know who's been there or not. We may have other people that we might think of that might be appropriate. You know, I don't know. I mean, I don't, that's not a magic number. I mean, I don't have a magic list of names at all, but you know, for us to put our heads together and think, are there people that we, you know, or positions that we would like to find out if somebody in that area has attended, and or, you know, these are people who are in positions of authority and leadership.
Yeah, I thought wasn't the administrators through Easthampton schools, did they not supposedly attend this?
There were no people from the schools in the one we attended, me and Rebecca. Nobody. Okay. There was the police chief, there was the fire chief, there were almost every administrative person in the town hall. A bunch of people from the city council, but nobody from the education department.
Right. Are people in the education department, are they not going through some trainings currently, like of similar topics with the collaborative?
Yes, and with the under the direction of the curriculum director. They are having some of the, like, there are things that they're reading I think they get together and discuss that with them. I think that is going on.
Right. So I feel like there's similar topics that discussed. I'm no longer able to attend the Equity Steering Committee because it's on Wednesdays and during my working hours. So I feel like that's something that's ongoing. It's not just a once-off. And I'm not saying why they shouldn't attend. I'm just saying they do have something similar that they're taking part in. I think it might be monthly, if I'm correct.
So we could find out, you know what, I have somewhere, because I just saw it, somehow I got a list of emails of all of the people, I believe, who had attended these 2 Undoing Racism trainings. It may have just been the one that I attended where that was on the top of the email. But we could find out if people in the school system have, for example, has the superintendent attended, have the principals attended, the schools, have heads of guidance department. I have no idea, but maybe it's the education department's turn to do this. I
see that as quite valuable, especially people who are going to be more directly connected to children. That could be very, very helpful.
So it struck me that we got a couple of registration lists. And actually, Cindy Mojica, who was with us, she works at the school.
Yes.
And it looks, I don't know who Dale Doran is.
Dale Dorian?
Yeah.
Right. Can I just make it can I just make a point that these people did not agree for us to have their names within the meeting. It was something that happened to be forwarded to us that we did not request. So I still don't think we should be mentioning people's names.
Okay. I was looking for whether people in the school attended. So I'm sorry.
So
I still think we're not talking about principals. We're not talking about head of guidance. We're not talking about any number of things. Superintendent. We're not talking about those positions.
Right.
So are you saying we should be, Margaret? Is that what you're stating?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So it's the chicken and the egg issue. Do we poll everybody that we would recommend attending or encourage people to attend and ask them if the June 3rd through 5th dates work for them? Or do we just commit to the date with People's Institute and then send out invites to everybody? And is there some agreement we would have with People's Institute that says if we don't get a certain number of participants, it won't take place? I don't know how this sort of thing works because I've not ever organized such a big event. Dr. Eben, you have something to say. Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. I think we want participation. I would believe that we'll extend invitation so we send emails them, and those who are really interested in will reply. We know the number that will be a fight. So I believe let's extend an invitation to them, and they will we want to participate, and then we can also decide that committee. Yeah, thank you.
I didn't quite understand that because there was so much breaking up of the audio. I'm really sorry, Dr. Eben. I'm almost tempted to ask you to just call in. Maybe that would be better than, I don't know.
Yeah, basically what I am trying to say is there are some people that would like to participate. So if we extend the invitation to them, indicate that yes, I want to be a part of it, and then we can count them as people that are really interested in it. So yes, extending invitation to them is very, very important, because we will know that those who really want to be a part of it. Of course, there may be some people that to be a part, but because of their schedules, they will not be able to fit into what we have for them. However, when we send an invitation to all of them, they will, declare their intention, and we can actually know that are really interested in what we really want to do for the community.
Okay,
Myra.
thank you. There's just a few questions, because I like to ponder things a little bit. So my few questions are, do you know exactly what the it is that you're inviting people to? Do you know who the them is that you're inviting? You know, how would you get people to attend something for 3 days? I just keep going back to that. So who is the it? I mean, what is it that we're promoting? Who are we inviting? And I want us to keep thinking. We set a course of how we were going to get community buy-in, that we were going to start building community. We were going to have neighborhood gatherings. We were going to start being able to discuss as the beginning step, with the end step being a workshop and educational, which talks about deep issues. It seems rather we're trying, because we have something convenient that's paid for, we're willing to jump over those steps and have the workshop without having attained the community. And it seems like a false start, because you have this paid for carrot that's there. Like, I understand wanting to take advantage of that. I fully understand wanting to be in something actionable, but is it helping build community, or is this something that the mayor, who's already said she's going to do, can be done with her paid staff that can attend?
Yeah, I mean, it rather looks here like, right, that she, if we don't take it on, her office will work directly with Dr. Campbell to schedule debriefs and new training on a timeline that her office can do. And they've done it before, so they have the experience. They probably know how, who and what and all those answers. Whereas I feel like to some extent, if we jump in, we're going to have to recreate some of that wheel. And
I agree. And if at this point, I think also just suggesting to the mayor that the school system seems to have been underrepresented in terms of, and then however they work out how people get paid for it, or commensurate time, or whatever it is, commensurate time, that, yeah, I see no reason for the mayor not to do it, the mayor's office. And right now, they're probably not going to do it within this fiscal year, and that's their call, right?
Dr. Evan, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I'm just thinking we can decide to zone, I mean, the CRC and zone is something into zones. Zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, whatever criteria we'll use. I just don't know if we can zone it so that something into specific zones. Then we would meet with people, individuals within specific zones, and get what they specifically need or want within their zones, so that based on the feedback from this what to do with each of these communities. I think that would be the best thing that we can offer to the community. That is my suggestion.
We do have voting wars. I'd like to mention, though, that our staunch volunteers who went to Winterfest began a survey, and we do have some answers there. So we've got some feedback that asks a few questions like, would you like the CRC to focus on education? Would you like the CRC to focus on community building? And I would say that the top two are trying cohesive neighborhoods. So I think that somehow the neighborhood get-togethers sounds like an item of interest. And there were some respondents who did suggest they would go to undoing racism, or that they generally thought education would be good. But we've kind of begun that kind of a survey, and I like it being open. I like the idea of, as we do some outreach with communities, the community members, we could ask some businesses if they'll keep a paper survey there to reach more, and ultimately we'll be able to get some answers. And I don't know if we want to think voting ward by ward by ward. Who do we start with? Yeah.
Forgive me if I've misplaced the agenda again, but hopefully I'm on topic. So in regards to the survey, yes, it's still open. We're still getting respondents. We found a lot of people have QR code readers, so it could be as simple as also leaving up a QR code and a few paper copies. As I was outlining that process that we spoke about when we were the former forum committee of like, how do we build people's interest to eventually having a conversation with a higher threshold of tolerance and diversity of opinions and things like that. So I think, because it's my thought, because it is now March, we were anticipating in the warmer months that we would start going through that survey data to reach out. I guess it would be outreach, that we would reach out to those who replied, so that we can start creating a calendar of when we expect people, can host. And we also could be building that budget. A few people in the survey and in passing said that they would like to also give input into their neighborhood gathering if it's happened at their home. So given that it's March, I think we should start planning, not that I'm not talking about the forum, but that we could start planning out a calendar of like, is this going to happen weekly and through the summer? Whose home can we travel to? And having time to prepare with the co-host. So I think that's something that that we already have respondents for, interest for. That was the highest ranked on the survey. Not that it's an exhaustive survey, but at least it's something that has data. So that's just where my head is, that we could start building out our calendar with some doable events. Not that it has to be exclusive of anything else, but that's my thought, because we really need to get to that.
And I think for me, the other priority, I think the other priority though, is in terms of gathering data about where, let's say 50 people are in Easthampton from. I would like us to come up with a survey. I mean, the other day, Myra, you just rattled off, 5 significant questions that were very specific to having attended a particular workshop. But I think, again, some of this got started with us doing or facilitating or being part of the Undoing Racism was through Dr. Campbell, that meeting we had with Dr. Campbell, where he was the one who basically suggested this. He was also the one who basically suggested that he would do the debriefs, that he would donate his time, that he, you know, is all, that was a lot of the juice for that, you know, and I thought, okay, hey, I want to do something actionable. If this is what we do now, fine. But, you know, I think that it didn't really generate from us. And that's totally true. It was generated from him. And I don't think that that is necessarily good for us. I agree with Myra. I think we need to generate the ideas that we want to do. But, you know, I know when I worked on the Reimagining Policing, the Mayor's Pledge group, there was a particular questionnaire that was given to it's in, you know, in the report, but it was an anonymous questionnaire to be done online to the police, to various different people. And it did offer a lot of information. And again, I'm quite surprised that that the People's Institute does not just, as a matter of fact, get data, because they would have so much data about what their training does and how it works. And I mean, they just, that's all. I find that really surprising.
Okay. And I don't want to, like, I also, as much as I'm trying to be thoughtful as being open-minded, is that, you know, if this is something that wants, you know, the mayor wants to continue doing, I don't see why we can't be in a collaborative component, like you mentioned, of saying, these are people that we could suggest take a part. Right now, I don't think we're able to provide the community aspect of it because we haven't done that work yet. So if there's people that she has in mind, I think we can also give the dates to her that he proposed, and see if that's something that's doable by their office. I just don't think that we have the community base to say 40 people, which I believe is what he asked for, can attend. We don't have that right now. And that may not be our target, but we can work in collaboration, which we are supposed to be doing. And, you know, maybe we're the jumpstart to having another one if she sees fit. But I don't think that we necessarily have to be the lead of something that we don't have the data to we don't have the bodies, nor do we have the data points from other people that attended. And I think most importantly, we should ask, because those people's information was collected, but I'm not sure that I don't know, psychologists,
Right.
folks in the room. I think there's like a disclaimer, right? Like do no harm and all those things that is usually take when you take a survey. So I'm not sure that they consented to taking part in the survey. So maybe we need to ask her permission.
Who are you talking about?
The attendees. So
if we want to come up with, well, we would say that we want to come up with a online anonymous survey to get feedback. And we can create that questionnaire ourselves. And that's all. And then use people's emails and send it out.
But she would need their consent.
Why would we need their consent? If they don't want to do it, they won't fill it out.
Well, we would need their consent to contact them.
Why would we need their consent to contact them?
Because they didn't agree for their data to be shared with us.
Yeah.
Well, it was. I mean, why didn't somebody else consider that issue? I don't know that that's a real issue. That's all. I don't know that.
It may not be an issue, but I did think about that when those lists were sent out to us. I was like, wait a minute, you know, were we really?
I don't think it's a secret who attended. I don't think that's not an issue of privacy. What people said and how people experienced it, I have never shared really, other than that I thought everybody made a really good contribution. And some people were very, very quiet. There is nothing that I have shared that was of personal nature about any or what people said or what moved me or whatever.
Mhm.
That, so that's why I don't feel that this is a privacy issue.
Mhm.
I'm legal may say different, the mayor may say different. I'm not going to argue the point, but I don't see this as a privacy issue.
Okay.
I think it's a public, and the people who work for the city were paid to be there. Why is that not private? Why is, you know what I mean? I didn't even know that until it started to be talked about here.
Right.
So,
Yeah, so I would like that to be one of the questions in response to the mayor's email. Like, as far as you know, do we have the permission to contact these people and get a survey if we think that's what we want to do? I wanted to try and
Well, do we want to ask her if
decide
she's,
what our next step is.
I don't necessarily want to ask permission. I think I would want to say, if we decided that this is something we're going to work on, and we have the list of attendees, and we will contact them about anonymously filling out this survey, because it seems that the People's Institute has never collected this kind of data, and we'll let you know what it says. But there is a way that I think the CRC is also poised within this community to collect data and be a vehicle for giving feedback back to the mayor and the city council about what people think about what's going on. And I think that would be a great vehicle for us to not only inform ourselves, but the community at large.
I definitely think the responses and, any information that people have to share is helpful. Like I said, my only thought was making sure that we do have their consent in the event that we do share it.
It will be anonymous. Again,
it depends on how your survey is. If you're talking about maybe if a finance officer or the city planner, please check off your occupation, then maybe not. So I'm just joking on that. But I'm just saying, I think we should do our utmost to make sure that however we create the survey, that we give disclaimers about, and what is it? Non-disclosure disclaimers? I've forgotten. Emily, maybe you'll know.
I don't formal terms.
Okay, or
survey.
formal researchers. Anyway, just that we do our utmost to be respectful of people's information, how things are shared out, and it could be helpful in terms of future vending opportunities if people found this was helpful, or we're figuring out the length that people are willing to sit for. I mean, it could be huge in terms of information, but we just need to be mindful.
So
yes.
So may I ask if the next step would be for the Forum Subcommittee to create a survey and let the mayor know that we plan to send it to all the attendees of the first two, and that we are not going to commit to a date yet with Undoing Racism?
Right, and we don't, that continuing, the Undoing Racism is her bailiwick. That's her thing, but we want to collect data from the participants. And just like we did with the mayor's pledge, that report, there's a lot of data that was collected, and it's in the report. So people did respond anonymously, but it's very clear that this person in the police department felt X, Y, Z. It just is what it is. I mean, that's the data. They filled out the survey. That's the data. And actually,
most interesting survey.
It was a very interesting survey, and it just was what it was. But it had we got a lot of data collection, and I think we can come up with that survey ourselves. But Nicole Hendricks was a fabulous facilitator of the surveys, and I would have no problem hiring her to help us do that if we didn't want to do it ourselves. So that's all, you know.
Okay, so are we done with this topic? I can move on to the next agenda item.
Well, I don't know. So do you think that in replying to the mayor,
Yes, exactly.
that we would be saying that in fact the CRC doesn't want to impede her plans for debriefs and a new training? However, we would be pleased to be involved in ways helpful to the community. So for example, I think the debriefs are interesting, and I think that we could say that we are not aware of like exit surveys or, you know, feedback on the training. So at least that's a lead in, and to say that unless the city is doing that as well, that we're interested in an anonymous survey of participants and go from there. We could tell her that we in looking into this, we had heard about 2 potential dates from Dr. Campbell. But if she's really leading this, why, you know, I don't think we want to get in her way as much as being kept in the loop. You know what I mean? Because I think we felt like totally not in the loop before. So if we could have some kind of a relationship, if we could assist in some way, that at least could be a question.
Sounds good.
And I don't know if the debriefs are for the town employees voluntary. So for example, I would see debriefs as voluntary myself, you know, people who want to would do it. Other people would say, you know what, I couldn't stand it, I don't want to do that.
Well, people like,
or I loved it and I'm done. You know, I'm done with it.
People
you know,
like me that have been doing nothing all this time. I need the debrief.
I know. Well, the other thing is that somewhere in this mush of information that we've gotten, and I don't know if Dr. Campbell said it verbally. I can't remember if I heard it or if I read it, or both. But this notion that after the initial training, you know, the one complaint was that it kind of just ended and you were to do nothing, which you also, Rebecca.
I've been harping on for a long time, but I love that shirt.
So it might be one in your future. So anyway, where I was going was that that there was going to be how to take those people who have already gone through the training to then meet and figure out how to operationalize that training or activate and become more of an activist within the community around certain issues of poverty, of race. I mean, there were so many different things that came up, class. So did you all hear that also from Dr. Campbell, or did I read that somewhere?
I think I have like too many information points, so I'm not sure which came from what. But there was certainly talk about creating alumni networks,
Yes,
creating
alumni network.
but that was not part of the workshop.
Right, no.
That was not included in part of the workshop, but rather something voluntary or part of some commissioned work thereafter. That would talk about tools that would essentially be your debrief, and then eventually some organizational networks for activism, I believe. But that also wasn't a part of the workshop. So that is where it got a little bit cloudy, and for a little bit of, you know, what were people's outcomes at the end, you know.
Right, and it was unclear if the People's Institute would do that kind of alumni grouping and organizing, or if it was Dr. Campbell who would do it.
Dr. Campbell said that he would volunteer his, you know, that he would do that because it may cost, the People's Institute may cost more, but also he was willing to give us a reduced rate since we couldn't afford his.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Right. So, you know, again, the People's Institute, I think he isn't the People's Institute. And so I feel like I would like to circle back to them. I don't even know exactly how to access, quote, them, but to say, have you been collecting data on people's experiences? You know, do you have any of that data to share? And also, do you facilitate creating these kind of alumni networks to help for community change? I don't know.
Well, I think in the emails there's some contact details for Dr. Campbell as well as the People's Institute. So if it's someone you want to reach out to, I think their information is at the bottom of the pages that he sent to us last time around.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but
So back to next steps. I'm sorry I keep asking for that. What's the conclusion of this discussion and what's the next step?
So
A letter needs to be written to the mayor.
Okay. Who's going to do that?
Well, how about if I create a draft and I send it to the Forum Committee?
Okay. Okay.
Would that work?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I will do that. The caveat, I'm just going to tell you, this Friday until the following Friday, I'm going to be at a silent meditation retreat.
So you'll be silent.
You're supposed to not bring your phone, on and on and on. Anyway, so I will try to come up with a draft before I go.
Okay.
I think that would be timely. That would be the best. And then, what could I say? I guess Myra and Rebecca, you'll need to figure out what form to send it in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes? No?
what form?
What do you,
like whether it should come back from you or whether
no, not what form. Like if you want to change it or make corrections or rewrite, whatever. Because I'm not going to be here to go back around again.
That's fine. Can you put like a few of the bullet points or that we're willing to collaborate in terms of or be a collaborative partner? And what else did we mention?
Yeah.
The future dates that were proposed.
Right.
And some potential people that were underrepresented in the that we saw as underrepresented. And also the ongoing need for the ongoing debriefings are still lacking.
Okay.
So those are the only points that I would bring up, and
Great.
I can add some commas and stuff in between.
Okay, well, thank you guys for working on that. Are we ready to move on to the next agenda item?
I think so.
Yeah, so that's a report from the Outreach Committee, which is me and Dr. Evan and yes, Dr. Evan, me, and Myra. Yeah. Yeah, I guess Jan was not on the outreach. Okay. So I have just one item that the Easthampton Healthy Youth Coalition leads, Ann Talley and Rebecca Edwards, I think it is. They really need to meet during the day, during the business hours. And that's not easy for me. They can't make March 23rd in the evening if they were to come to this meeting. We originally had a March 23rd meeting scheduled. they would be interested to hear the April meeting, and maybe they could make that evening meeting. So Dr. Evans not here to ask, but Myra, do you have daytime business hours to have a meet? No, right, okay. So we'll try and figure out the April meeting date, and I can send that to them and see if they can join us in our timeline. Yeah. Okay.
And
This is the different members of the Easthampton Youth Coalition.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Yeah. Okay.
so I kind of feel badly, Jan, because like I put myself in these different groups thinking like pick 3, but one, you know, if you want to feel free to swap in any of them. Yeah, well,
No,
oh,
no,
wait,
I
no,
mean,
in
I
your
just- I mean-
bylaws, no thanks.
You know, I look at it this way. No, there are other ones that, like I said, I picked, and I think if, you know, if I could assist at any time,
Mhm.
just let me.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, that would be
that's-
great. That would be
Mhm.
great because I think you have been in the community a long time, so
Mhm.
outreach would be something that you'd have a lot of connections with.
Yeah.
One other part of outreach, which I didn't speak about,
Mhm.
I had an informal meeting with, I guess you would call it the vice chair of the, I think it's the Commission on Disability.
Mhm.
And we just had a quick chat,
Mhm.
and he was saying that, and I guess from the correspondence, that the chair, who I believe is Angelique Baker, right? She had been looking to meet with other committees, and he did think, because their meetings are during the day, he did think that potentially some members could attend our meetings in the future. But I think that's a great collaboration for a future that we could reach out to.
Mhm.
Either one.
Mhm. Okay. So what do you think the next step would be in that area?
When Rebecca sends the email, we can respond. We can talk about it and respond and coordinate.
Mhm. Okay. Right. Okay.
And decide how formal we want to have an introduction to be. If it's something like a cup of coffee, or I don't know.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Do we want to invite them to a meeting? Is that what you're also saying?
well, maybe a future step, but first maybe we want to have a phone call or something like that to figure out, you know, just some general information of how we would like to reach out. What would be helpful? What would be a helpful format for us to make connection?
Mhm. Mhm.
But maybe joining a future meeting would be nice.
Mhm. Okay. 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 So I don't have anything. Oh, well, so outreach. Well, this was meant to be just a report on it, right? But sounds like we do need to, the outreach committee needs to meet and start discussing our events and stuff like that. Yeah. Or our gatherings. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yes.
I don't know what is, well, this I think would be for we were talking about the subcommittees.
Mhm.
I think the CRC needs to figure out, for example, what Jan and I, as the finance committee, that what we are looking for monies for 2023. We do have this $10,000, and I don't know, for example, when you're talking about having these neighborhood, you know, I mean, I call them block parties, but whatever, these events, are we going to provide hamburgers and hot dogs? You know what I'm saying? Are we going to be drinks, you know, iced tea and whatever? But, you know, what do we need to start to think about the budget that we want. And if we want to use some of that money before July 1st, definitely use because you really lose it. You lose it. It just goes.
So we really do lose it. So,
Oh, no, it's not going to go back. That $10,000 is to be spent this year before
Okay.
July.
Right. And from what I read, you can't future bill.
Right.
Is
you
that what I
can't-
read?
Right. You can't future bill except if you pay for things now.
Mhm.
So, for example, let's say, I mean, I'd have to find out if this is even doable. Let's say we decided that we want to buy gift cards to Costco to cover the cost of buying hamburgers, hot dogs, potato chips, etc. Then we buy that now. We have these gift cards that the CRC can use, and it was spent in 2021, but it could get used throughout the summer. So I don't think that's,
Good
I
idea.
mean,
Yeah.
I don't know that that's kosher, but it seems like it ought to be, because we're not going to do anything with that is
Yeah, can-
illegal.
Can you look into that to find out if it is okay? But not, I would say not Costco gift cards. I'd like to say like Visa gift cards that then could be given to like Small Oven,
Right.
the Indian restaurant, like all the restaurants,
Yeah.
the local restaurants.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes.
Right.
Better, or like Big E's.
Yeah, local vendors. Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
can we
gift
get
cards,
Yeah.
buy gift cards at various vendors, like $500 worth of gift cards from here and whatever. Okay.
$10,000 worth?
$10,000 worth. Isn't that fun?
My.
We might have to spend some money on coolers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right. The
A
coolers.
grill.
Right, exactly. And also that, yes. So yeah, that's a great idea.
Right.
Okay.
So be thinking about budgeting for partial catering. Also, we may want like one of those little tents. I mean, that would
right.
probably go a long way and be used at many different events.
Mhm.
Some other things to think about for those, since you're on finance. Thank you, by the way.
Great.
Thank you. Are like the little, like, I'm going to use the word signage, but a lawn sign, like a few of those, so that we can put them up at each house that we go to.
Or
But
even one of
maybe-
those announcement signs are usually made of a fabric that's weatherproofed. And a lot of events we've done in the past with the other organizations, we put them right as you're coming down Union Street on the fence of the pond,
Right.
where people can see very readily what event is coming up.
All right.
Yeah, so we might, maybe not pay a graphic designer to design one, because I think just the CRC is a little boring. Something like,
From far away, it could look like a Target.
I know exactly.
But
But
I do
we're
like
not
the
vote for
pins.
that symbol.
Deb Lusney will like that the most.
So did I.
So did you, Jan.
It
Deb,
works with the button very well.
I like it as a button.
Yeah, and I've got the buttons. Yeah. Which I still haven't made my invoice for. Yeah.
Okay, meet that invoice.
Yeah.
So other points of outreach, maybe as outreach, well, we can think of a time to meet. I think we've been doing a lot of meeting, but so
No, frankly, I would like to postpone the public meeting of March 23rd to an April date, and instead use March 23rd as a subcommittee meeting, subcommittee.
maybe it could be like all subcommittee meetings.
Yeah.
Although we're on a few.
Right, except for that. But one could be 6 to 6:45, the other one be 6:45 to 7:30, something like that.
Yes, so that we have that set aside. And prior to, we could maybe go through the survey. And for anyway, lots to do, but in a good way, I think.
So
Can I add some things to the parking lot ideas?
Yes.
I think so.
Okay, great, since we have finance people here. So future ideas where I'd like us to spend our money, maybe, and we can talk about them at later dates. I'm not sure about the logistics, might be like purchasing some books for like group discussion and group dialogue that could be moderated in the future, since we do have this money now. It seems like they could be used.
So we get it for the bookstore,
Yeah,
Book Moon, right?
or whomever supplies. Mhm.
Would I now with that, would it be, let's say, a book that all of us would read? And this got like, what would it be for? I guess that's what I
Okay.
was.
So this is my idea. I didn't want to let it out just yet because it's going to extend the meeting. But I'm just thinking as another initiative, like not in place of a forum, but a different, smaller type of forum would be like a kind of like a book reading for the community. Like we can get maybe 20 books. Provide that would be, that people don't have to specifically spend, but can have them, and we can reuse them. So I don't know the title of the book. That could be one.
Maybe
Or we
use the
can get gifts.
library as a conduit,
Mhm.
maybe a pickup place, and get people going there a little bit more, whatnot. So
Something like that. So maybe budgeting for books, and then future idea to since everyone's in one place and I can mention it, is coming up with I don't want to say flags, but okay, let me call like small banners to be used as a way of promoting diversity. And I'll talk about that more another time.
It'll have to go somewhere near all those flags that go down Main Street. It just, but I agree. I think that was a great idea.
Okay.
That you had.
So we'll put it in the parking lot, Rebecca, for a future meeting.
Yeah, and I'll make sure that I've shared this. Have I shared it out? Actually, I did. So you should be able to see that if you've got, if you I can also send the link just to remind everybody where it is. I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thanks.
Yeah. Okay. I've been paying attention to some of the work of a group in Sudbury, Massachusetts, and they've done book readings. So you remind me of them. Another thing they've done is film showing. I think that I mentioned this film called I'm Not Racist, Am I? And it may be, if you don't mind, I'll send a trailer of it out. It's kind of a film you can't get without paying for it, but there's a website here. It says host a workshop. I'm tempted even to write in to see how much it costs, because I have no idea. Sudbury did it and I attended. And so they had the film show, and they also had they actually asked people to watch the film individually during a certain time frame. And then they had a gathering, at least one or two, to come back and discuss. And to, think about what parts in the film meant something to you, or, that kind of a thing. So, anyway.
I could completely see us doing something of a film viewing, say at Mill Park, with a food truck.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds cool too. Yeah. Yeah.
Or at the new theater, Marigold Theater on Cottage Street.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. That's great.
Well, the gift card, we have to get a gift. We have to see if we can get a gift card for a food truck. We have a lot of things to figure out, because we're going to be buying 10 grand worth of gift cards.
Right.
So, but all of those things, like, that all goes into budget, right? Like, how much does it cost to rent space in the theater? How much does it, how much does some of these things cost? And I don't know if the outreach committee, hint, 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 would like to put the library way up on its list in
Mhm.
terms of collaborations. And
Mhm. Mhm.
Most
That's why I was
definitely. I see
waiting.
they put a lot of events on that I
Yep.
see that are posted. So
Right.
we can look at that parking lot, collectively think about how to maybe organize
Mhm.
whatever committee you be on, whether it be the finance end or like thinking of logistics through
Mhm.
the forum
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
how we outreach. So
Mhm.
oh, quiet. Oh,
Yeah.
And I'm glad you mentioned the thing about the library again. And this is why I brought it up earlier, is because summertime's going to be coming up. And
Mhm.
everyone mentions, my wife for many, many years used to run their summer reading program, which at first they with just children, and then she started getting things, doing programming more for adults as well. And so the book thing that you were reading, Myra, you were talking about, would be a really nice summer reading
Mhm.
program idea.
Mhm,
So
mhm, mhm, mhm.
Yeah. Great. Yep.
that sounds great. Maybe we can. I know I'm going to be quiet. But that
So
sounds great.
is there consensus that March 23rd will be subcommittee meetings? And it will be taken off the public list?
let me say this, that the city clerk from time to time asks, when is your next regular meeting, or are you changing your regular meeting date? I'm not saying that we have to figure that out right now, because now we're 3 minutes over time. But just as we go along, we might want to then think about what the regular schedule ought to be.
Mm.
I mean, if we don't like the
Mhm.
towards the end of the month, I don't know.
I guess I sort of feel like it's a little hard to know all the time. I mean, I understand. It's just tonight ended up being a very full meeting with a lot of to-dos, right? A lot of next steps, and I guess I have time for another meeting before now on March 23rd. I guess I do. But we can't guess that Dr. Eben does.
And I don't. I
You
mean,
don't.
the
He's
20
gone for a week, right? So,
right. So the 23rd, I could meet, but also, well, the other, yeah, we need to figure out when we want to meet again. And also,
Mhm.
simply to probably get back to Dr. Campbell that we're not going to be using either of those dates.
Mhm. Right.
Well, we don't know if the mayor might.
But the mayor might.
Right.
Right, I'm thinking write the mayor first,
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, all right.
and
All
then
right.
Okay, so but back to March 23rd. I mean, we could hold a public meeting and have an extremely small agenda with, announcements and public speak, and then it can end, and then we can do our subcommittee work. I don't know.
But given that people are on different ones and some people are on several, how does that actually work? Do you
Well,
know?
like I said, like 6:40, whatever, 6 o'clock to 6:45, we could decide, okay, let's do outreach then. Those of you on the forum committee could do, 7:15 to 7:30, whatever. But if everyone wants to find their own meeting times, that's fine also. And keep
Because there'll be subcommittee meetings. Is there any chance that we would be able to do Zoom breakouts and jump back and forth between the two?
right.
Just hinting at Rebecca.
you know,
Don't know.
one thing I did that I shouldn't have done is yesterday I took one of the open meeting law trainings. Good refresher.
Oh, right. I'm signed up actually for sometime in this month. Oh, I'm the 22nd I signed up for.
And the concern that came to my mind about that is actually the permissibility of subcommittees not being public. And I didn't want to raise that tonight. I thought, that I might even talk to Derek Dean or something who's gonna, has an interest in working in Massachusetts and say, listen, to what extent can we do this? Because what I heard the AG people saying was that focus groups are permissible. I tried to look and what is a focus group, but it seems that's more like if we wanted to invite the community to talk about a certain issue.
Mhm.
And it was saying that if we create a subcommittee to advise us, for example, then those meetings have to be public. You see, so I'm actually concerned about where's the finesse. Because of course, if somebody volunteers, like Margaret, if you volunteer to go ask questions of the mayor, you don't have to do that in public. But to what extent do fewer than a quorum of the committee get to do any of our work, right? So anyway, so I did this training and I actually didn't even ask my question there. I could have asked a question, but it's sort of like, I don't want to know what I don't want to know, right? I don't want them to tell me that we're supposed to be noticing all of these things. So I was thinking, and not that Derek Dean's an expert on this, but because he's working in Massachusetts, right, that maybe I'd get some thoughts about what he thinks about subcommittees and maybe even who to ask or something like that. But
Why did we think that as long as we didn't have a forum, that subcommittees, whether it was 2 people or 3 people, could just meet at the diner or whatever, and
why did we think that fewer than a quorum could talk together?
Well,
right?
Since I've been here, I think that was how we got the strategic planning in the meeting with Derek Dean ruling, because it was part of the strategic planning subcommittee.
And they were all work groups, but they had all of us though. There was definitely a quorum then.
No, I believe, was it myself, Rebecca and forgive me. What's his chair? I don't know her name. I'm terrible.
What?
Deb?
The form Deb. Thank you.
Well, we could probably just ask the mayor as well. But, it seems to make sense to be able to have these subcommittee meetings that are done at our convenience. And, we're doing it on Zoom, but if we weren't doing it on Zoom, I'd probably say, well, let's go meet at the bagel place and hash this out, and look at spreadsheets or whatever,
The overall concern is transparency. So I looked up and I only read one opinion, and it had to do with whether a deliberation was public, and but again, I want to know what the finesse is, because that the actual statute says that if a municipal committee creates a subcommittee and they advise the committee, then that should be a public group too. And so I'm feeling like there's got to be some extent to which something doesn't have to be public. So I just want to understand that better. And I'm just going to say I don't understand it right now. So if I really wanted an opinion, it would be the city attorney. And maybe the question for the mayor, if I ask anything of the mayor, is does she mind my asking that of the city attorney, or does she really want to give me some other kind of?
Well, she probably knows the answer. My hunch is not only is she a lawyer, but she also knows the answer. She would know the answer.
She's a lawyer, but she's the one that steered me the wrong way on the appointment of a new committee member that really wasn't really appointed. So that just got me to be a little shy there, because I totally relied on her, and so she made a mistake. That's okay. I could ask her, from early on, we had a Forum Subcommittee, Mary Lou and I think Emily, And so this is way back. So why did we even think we could have a forum subcommittee? So that didn't have to have public, that whose meetings didn't have to be public, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I could ask her, but I could, so I'll do that. I'll write to the mayor.
Right.
I'll email the mayor. I could ask to meet with her, but I could put it in the email and say, here, this is why I'm concerned and what are your thoughts?
And not that I'm a lawyer or anywhere to have any
And as
sort of
long as
inkling
we
of
don't
why.
have,
I don't play one on TV. But yeah, I'm thinking not even that we don't have a quorum, is that we're just building information that's presented with deliberation to the group. So in our subcommittees, we're not necessarily making decisions, but rather we're building, gathering information that we do bring to the group. So that's my only thought. Like, we don't vote.
Right. So if we, right, exactly. So if we are set up in such a way as to gather information and provide information, and in fact, not even make recommendations, does that cut it? And maybe it does.
I think it does.
So I didn't mean to give you a headache.
I'm putting in a bid that it'll be good. What we do is working, but we need to clarify.
Yeah. No, I just want to be sure we're within this parameters. So I read something. There was a subcommittee and they deliberated by email and once in person. And then I don't even know but see what anyway, there's some details even in that one that I don't know, because they didn't say whether that deliberation was like open to the public. But anyway, they were determined to have overstepped the line. But anyway, so I'd like to clarify that. That way I can be very clear on my answer that yes, we can do this. No, we should think about this A, B, C, D.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
I mean, I really think we're doing our best to conform.
Yes, we are.
We are.
So thank
And we want to be transparent, and we're not hiding anything.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you in advance for working on that, Rebecca.
sure.
So I believe we need to come up with our next meeting date, and then we should adjourn.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. What's like the second Wednesday in April? Does that give us enough time
Oh, yeah.
or no?
Well, that's
Not that I know.
the
What is that?
13th. I don't know. I mean, are there Wednesdays that are not good? I mean, we could meet the 6th. We could meet the 13th of April.
Are we meeting on the 23rd? So public meeting on the 23rd. So I would prefer to say then April 20th, so that more subcommittee work could be done in between.
Okay.
As long as Rebecca gets the okay that we can meet with subcommittees.
Okay. So
April-
we are going to meet on the 23rd.
Mhm.
Okay.
Which is the fourth Wednesday of the month. So personally, I would then sort of assume
Okay.
that
then-
April 27th would be the next one. But,
Okay.
Obviously we can make different decisions if we want to.
Mhm.
That's right. We had talked about the 27th because I have it written in my book here.
Okay, that's fine with me.
That's fine with me.
Mhm.
Works.
Okay.
Okay. And I feel like this meeting here is kind of specially called.
Mhm.
And if we need another
Mhm.
meeting in between, maybe we can do that again. But,
Mhm.
but yeah.
Okay. So April 27th and March 23rd.
Okay.
So we'll see each other in 2 weeks.
Correct.
And Myra,
Yeah.
Dr. Eben and I will find a time to do outreach meeting. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Okay.
everybody.
So who would like to
Motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn? Who seconds that?
Second.
Right.
Myra. Yep.
Okay. So roll call. Rebecca Pasa,
Approve.
Margaret Kerstein,
Approve.
Myra Oyedemi,
Yes, approve.
Jan Norman,
Approved.
Eben Afarakuma,
I think he lost his connection.
He did.
right? And then yes from Emily Britton. Yes. Okay. So we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Very much.
Take care now.
All right.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.